Yo, what's happening, man? It's the real DJ Gravy. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and hit the notification bell so every time you know I go live, yo. What's happening? So, I haven't posted in a few days. I'm going back to back today. Let's go. First one, worst hoard in American history, the Collyer brothers mansion. I think I'm saying their name right, Collyer. We'll see.
While many of the palatial Fifth Avenue mansions have been torn down over the years, some suffered a fate worse than the wrecking ball. Hi everyone, Ken here. Welcome to this house. Today,
follow this house, I think.
We are putting on our hazmat suits and heading into the worst hoard in American history. Born into a lineage steeped in early American history, the Collyer brothers were the scions of a family that traced its roots back to the esteemed Livingston family,
Collyer,
members of New York's high society. With a dwindling bloodline, their father and mother, who were first cousins, ensured their money would stay in the family. This heritage bestowed upon the brothers not just affluence, but a legacy of high expectations and societal prominence. The brothers' early life was a mix of intellectual brilliance and eccentricities. Educated at Columbia University, Homer and Langley proved themselves full of potential. Homer became a lawyer, while Langley pursued degrees in engineering, chemistry, and music. Yet beneath this facade of success, the seeds of their future isolation were germinating. Even in their 30s, the brothers had never moved out of their parents' Fifth Avenue brownstone, nor had they shown any interest in marriage. When their father and mother passed away, they inherited the city mansion, which became a hermitage for the brothers. Their retreat from society was gradual, but irreversible. Homer suffered a hemorrhage behind his eyes, leaving him completely blind, and Langley retired early to take care of his brother. Around this time, Langley began collecting newspapers every single day so that his brother could read them if his eyesight were ever cured. But that was just the beginning. The once prominent neighborhood, a fleeting beacon of Gilded Age opulence, had lost its luster following the Great Depression. Langley became increasingly paranoid of his surroundings and began hoarding the items that were so readily discarded on his street. The Harlem Mansion, once a symbol of their affluence, morphed into a labyrinth vault of their past, filled with books, musical instruments, and relics of a bygone era. Their strange behavior attracted attention from their neighbors, and rumors began to spread that the brothers were sitting on piles of cash and living lavish lifestyles while the community was mostly living in squalor. Several attempts were made by burglars to enter the house, only fueling Langley's paranoia. Within the confines of their home, the brothers created a universe of their own making. Langley's inventive mind turned to the creation of booby traps and tunnels, transforming the brownstone into a fortress against perceived threats. Meanwhile, Homer's health took a sharp turn. He became paralyzed and could no longer feed nor bathe himself, so Langley did that for him. Without Homer able to defend himself from perceived threats, Langley only left the house at midnight, sorting through dumpsters to find food and search for items which he perceived as valuable to bring home. It was recommended that Homer receive proper medical treatment, but Langley proudly boasted to a reporter that he had 15,000 medical books in his library and distrusted doctors to help his brother more than he could. Langley continued to lose touch with reality and stopped paying the bills. In 1939, he refused to let the utility companies inside to turn off his gas, forcing the utility company to climb in through a window. His electric and phone were then disconnected, though he was able to rig a car engine to act as a generator in place of his utilities. Then, in 1942, crowds gathered outside the home as the bank served him an eviction notice as well as a notice of foreclosure. When Langley came to the window, he invited the police inside and wrote a single check to cover the years of missed mortgage payments and back taxes. With this move, the brothers were mostly left alone for several more years, with Langley only venturing out into the daylight to deal with various legal matters in the courts. Their lives, once rooted in the pursuit of knowledge and art, had devolved into a surreal existence, far removed from the reality outside their walls. That is, until an anonymous call was made to the police on March 21st of 1947. The caller complained of an intense odor that smelled like a decomposing person. The police were used to receiving complaints about the smells coming from the house, as it had fallen into disrepair with swarms of rodents seen climbing through its leaky, moldy walls. But nevertheless, they sent an officer out to check. When the police arrived, the smell was indeed overwhelming and different than usual. They attempted to get the attention of the brothers, but no one answered. The police broke down the door with an axe, only to discover a wall of junk blocking their entry. They began pulling out trash and items one by one, lining the street as they went. Then they attempted to climb in through a window, only to discover Homer's body sitting in a chair and unresponsive. They pronounced him dead on the spot and brought his body out of the house. It was determined that he had starved there with no way of moving or feeding himself. Police immediately opened an investigation into Langley, but he was nowhere to be found. When he did not show up to his brother's funeral, not even from a distance, police began to suspect he might still be in the house. They returned to the brownstone and began sifting through every room, tossing junk out of windows and being careful not to trigger any of the dozens of traps in each room. They removed over 25,000 books, over a dozen pianos, pickled human remains, and an estimated 120 to 140 tons of other items and trash. Finally, there in the same room where Homer's body was discovered, they found Langley. He had been crawling through one of his makeshift tunnels with food for his brother when he had accidentally triggered a booby trap. Thousands of pounds of trash fell on top of him, asphyxiating him. As they began digging him out, the police discovered the source of the smell, as rats had been feasting on him for weeks. Even with the house in the state it was, with trash, waste, and rodents everywhere, there were 56 claims to the estate filed by distant family members, who wanted not only the contents of their bank accounts, but the centuries-old jewelry and other items that had been passed down to them by their blue blood ancestors. When these things were divvied up, the value was estimated to be around the modern-day equivalent of about $1.2 million. Their house, however, was in such a dire state that there was no other option than to tear it down. It was demolished with most of the worthless items and soiled antiques still inside before being dumped in a landfill. Today, the lot where one of America's earliest and most prominent families once lived remains unoccupied, having been transformed into a pocket park named after the brothers Collyer. As we leave their home, I'll ask for your thoughts down below in the comments section. And while you're there, make sure you're subscribed with the bell notification turned on so you never miss an exciting episode.
Wow. Dang. And they had a lot of pictures, bruh. Like, I wanted to stop for a sec. I wonder who got that one. Who took that one? Damn. Oh my goodness. That's right, that's Manny. That's Manny. Like, bro. I guess you could say, yeah, it's the worst Hoard, unless we find something bigger. It's the worst Hoard with the worst story. Like, oh my gosh. That's it, bro. That's just bones. I'm gonna get demonetized. This is crazy. Look at this food, though. I wonder what the air smelled like then. You know the air was a lot crispier back here. The crazy thing is, I'm in the original. That's wild. That's all I can say is that's crazy. I done said it about 15 times. But make sure you hit the like and subscribe, man. This is Real DJ Gravy. Look, go to the next video. I got another one for you. Wham!